Hi, so today I'm going to review this book right here. This bright green book is Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith, and I really enjoyed this book. It was probably one of my favorite books so far this year. It was amazing, and it's also very insane and weird and crazy, and it's going to be kind of hard to explain why it's amazing, but I will try my best. So here we go, review. So Grasshopper Jungle is a coming-of-age story about a boy named Austin, who I think is 16, and his best friend Robbie, and how they bring the end of the world about, or how they bring about the end of the world. And there are things in here, it says at the back, there are things in here, babies with 2 heads, insects as big as electric guitars, God, the devil, endless warriors, rocket ships, sex, diving bells, theft, wars, monsters, internal combustion engines, love, cigarettes, story bomb shelters, pieces, and cruelty. Almost made it. But yes, a lot of crazy things are happening. It just, you think it's about one thing, but it's also about another thing, and it's also about that same thing that you thought it was about. Like, it's just insane, and a lot of things are happening, and everything that's happening is so weird and so unique and brought to you in such an interesting and funny voice. The narrator of the story is Austin, and he is so funny and so interesting, and I don't know, he was so refreshing as well, because like, the start of the story is about Austin and his best friend and the world that they live in. Like, they live in a small town, and kind of the problems and kind of the things that they do, and it sort of feels like a quirky, contemporary sort of story, and it's sort of like an indie vibe, like an indie movie vibe that you get when you start reading it, and it's refreshing because Austin is struggling with his sexuality, and I've never read a book where a character is thinking about that and where he's dealing with that and where he's, you know, coming to terms with that. It's a coming-of-age story, so he's at that period where he's trying to figure it out, and the thoughts that he was having and the things that he was thinking about were so refreshing, and something that I've never read before from a narrator, so it was a breath of fresh air, and it was amazing to just have that. And that wasn't even like, it was like one of the things. I mean, it was one of the big things for me because I really liked that part of the story. But there are so many other things in this book that it's amazing. It's also sort of about history, about Austin's history, and about, you know, how that ties in to him and how he can grow from that, or maybe not grow from that. And yeah, so you start off with sort of this indie story about a town, and then things get crazy, and lots of like just weird things start to happen. Things just start to get really insane, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, and even just the way that things are said and the way the perspective on like the normal life just feels weird because it's so different and unique, and I loved it. I loved, like, just this book was so good. It was so amazing. I definitely recommend it. If you are looking for a different story, a story that doesn't follow a normal plot, a story that's refreshing, a story that deals with characters who are just different and who are unique, and the perspective on them is unique and weird, then this is definitely the book for you. I kind of, at the very beginning, got Me and Earl and the Dying Girl sort of vibes, and I was scared about that because I didn't like that book that much. It definitely has the crudeness of that book, if you've read that book. There is a lot of crude humor in here, but I didn't find it annoying. Like, sometimes I do find that kind of humor annoying, but I didn't. It didn't annoy me. It actually made it funnier and, like, just more fun to read. That's probably something that I should address before I get into the review. So if you don't like crude humor a lot, if you don't like talking about sex and swearing and stuff like that, then maybe this isn't the book for you. I would definitely recommend, like, reading a sample of it or picking the book up and just sort of starting it and seeing if you like it, just to see if it's your kind of thing, because it is the type of book that it's amazingly well written, and it's amazing, and I think you can appreciate that even if you don't necessarily like it, but there are definitely going to be people who really love it and people who really don't like it. My favorite things about this book, which I feel like I've already said about, I'm going to say them again, the narration and how funny it was and how interesting. The writing style was amazing and just so unique. This book was so unique. And then also the dealing with the sexuality and how refreshing that was and how different, and I've never read anything like it, so it was so amazing and so well done, I think. Ingrid, Austin's dog, I love that dog. And just sort of the reading experience for me, it was just so much fun to read and so different, and I was just so appreciative of that, and I don't know, it was just, I was like, this book is amazing and so weird. Like, if you've heard a million people say that it's weird, believe them, because it's weird. But yeah, it was just such a good book to read because it was like fun, but also I was like, you are so good! I'm so glad I'm reading you! And I'm definitely a fan of the author now, and I'm going to read all the rest of his books. I have his book Winger, which I didn't even realize was by the same author, so I'm going to be reading that really soon. The only thing I didn't like was that Austen was kind of the only well-developed character, the only character with like a lot of depth, and there were other characters, specifically too, who were there for like most of the book, and I felt at times like they were kind of just there for him and for his growth and to kind of show his growth, and I wish that they had been delved into more and that we could have seen them more. But other than that, it was such an amazing book and I totally recommend it. I give it 4.5 out of 5. Just, I love this book. Read it if you want to, or just read it anyway. And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this review and I will see you next time. Bye!